Yes? We're still excited, yes? All right, all right. Another speaker is gonna be Rocky. I want you to watch this video real quick, and then you're gonna help me welcome him in. So let's pay attention to the screen.
I think we gotta be able to say these two things at the same time in the same breath. Because I believe we live in this type of tension all of the time. I think we have to be able to say, I am wildly extraordinary and unique, and there is literally nobody in the world like me. The second statement is this: I am 100% regular, and I am no more valuable than anybody to my left or to my right. These are the two statements. One, I am wildly extraordinary, and there is nobody in the world like me. And two, I am 100% regular in regards to the fact that you are no more or no less valuable than anyone sitting to your left or to your right. And I can promise you, here's what happens. The majority of us believe the first statement too much. We believe the statement says, I'm wildly extraordinary and unique, and there's nobody in the world like me. So what happens, we run around with our chest puffed up, mostly out of insecurity, because we hope somebody says that we're valuable. And if they don't, we want to be able to say, well, it doesn't matter, this suit was tailored. Or we live on the other side that says, I'm just regular and I'm not valuable and I'm not worthy and nobody likes me and I bring nothing unique to the table. Ultimately, both people are saying the same thing. I'm lonely, I'm isolated. I'm waiting for someone to look me in the face and tell me that I was doing something right. My greatest desire is that we would all be able to stand unapologetically in the tension of these two statements, so that we are standing upright, our eyes are forward, we're no longer looking to our left or our right. There is nobody in the world like you, I promise.
All right, everybody, get on your feet, get your drums. Let's make some noise for Rocky Garza. Get louder,
What's
get louder,
let's go! I appreciate you all very, very much. Hey, what's up, El Paso? Here's what I need from you right now. If you don't have something to write with and write on, it's going to be a very long hour for you, okay? So I need you to have something to write with and write on. Get that out in front of you. Go ahead and have a seat. Get comfortable. Yes, you did read the agenda right. We are going to be together for an hour, but I promise I am not going to talk at you for an hour because that would not be good use of either of our time. But you are absolutely going to need something to write with and write on. We've got a variety of questions that we're going to answer together. I got a lot of things I'm going to ask you. It is 100% about what you're willing to take in and take out of our time together. Let me be very clear. I got a couple things for us, and then we're going to jump in and get started. Number one, I am not going to tell you anything today about you that you don't already know. I am not a magician. I am not a guru. I'm not a wizard. I'm not Harry Potter. I don't have any magical sauce that if you say me the right thing, I'm going to look at you and you're going to look at me and then we're going to have this moment and be like, see, I told you. It doesn't work that way. I believe, can we, house lights up a little bit too so I can see you in the back because we're going to talk to each other and we're going to write things down. I've come to believe over the course of my life that every individual knows exactly who we are. There it is. I believe that every one of you here right now knows exactly who you are. The reality is I have found that many of us, at least myself, often in fact the thing that we miss is that we tend to be illiterate when it comes to being able to describe who we are. It's not that we don't know, it's just that simply we lack the words. We lack the ability to describe the thing that we feel inside. And talking about the Moment Conference and talking about our ability to find the moment or seize the moment, what I'm going to do over the course of the next 55 minutes and we're going to do together is that we're going to go through a process that I call identity mapping. Now, normally identity mapping for a group this size would take us 7-8 hours. We don't have 7 or 8 hours. We have 56 minutes. So we're going to squeeze that process down into about 55 minutes and see how quick, fast, in a hurry we can come up with a language about who we are. And we're going to do that collectively together. Thumbs up if you're with me. Thumbs up if you're good. So here's how we're going to do that. I don't have a clicker, so my man in the back, hit me on the next slide. There's two things. Number one, today we're going to go through the who and the how of impact. You can read through this. Go to the next slide. That's actually irrelevant. There's two things I want you to write down. This is the first one. I want you to write these two statements down. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. You're going to hear me say that a lot and be very clear. I am not asking you to write anything down because I think I'm going to tell you something so profound you've never heard it in your life. I'm telling you going to write it down so that you don't forget something you may have heard for the 15th time, and on the 16th time, it might actually stick. You follow me? Statement number one is this. I want you to write this down. I am wildly unique and extraordinary, and there's no one in the world like me. You've heard that word earlier. Our very first speaker this morning, our good friend Ruben Alvarez, talked to you about being extraordinary. Again, I want you to write this down. I am wildly unique and extraordinary, and there's no one in the world like me. Now, be very clear. I'm not telling you that to try to puff you up or blow smoke up your ass or make you feel good, or I'm the second to last speaker, and so we know it's 4:30. We're a little tired. We have 3 Celsius, 2 coffees, bad breath. We forgot the coffee. That's not why I'm giving you this statement. I'm telling you that you're wildly unique and extraordinary, and there's no one in the world like you, because I believe it's physiologically impossible for there to be another human being exactly like you. Identical twins shouldn't be called identical. They should be called similar twins, because it's impossible for there to be anyone in the world like you. But I'm not telling you that because I'm trying to prove that you're so special. I need for you to come to the foundational and fundamental belief that until you are willing to recognize the reality and the truth that there is something extraordinary about you, you will consistently live an ordinary life. It's impossible for you to make a decision for anything other than ordinary until you believe that you are worthy and valuable of something other than ordinary. Yet I believe this statement cannot live by itself. I lived 30 plus years of my life believing this statement, but believing it to the point that I felt like I had to prove to you that I was extraordinary, because if I didn't, then you would leave me just like my dad did. I lived 30 plus years of my life believing that not only was I wildly unique and extraordinary and there was no one in the world like me, but I was going to perform my way to make sure that you understood that I was the most amazing thing in the world. Because when my mom got married and divorced 5 times and I went to 13 schools before I graduated from 7th grade, I was repeatedly told my entire life through actions and words that if I couldn't perform and prove to you I was worthy and valuable, then you were going to leave just like my mom and my dad did. See, I learned really early on if I could outwit you, outthink you, outtalk you, if I could use words and charisma to get your attention, if I could speak at a cadence fast enough that it forced you to pay attention so that when the moment was exactly right, that I really wanted to draw you in, I could really get you to trust me. And I found myself lonely and isolated because I thought this was the only statement that was true. Next slide. I want you to write this down next to this statement. But I'm 100% regular, meaning I'm no more or no less valuable than anyone to my left or to my right. Now, you might be thinking, Rocky, that's just the opposite of what you just said. False. I just said this is the statement on the other side of the tension. You just heard from these amazing gentlemen that were up here. At the very last thing they talked about was work-life balance, and they all told you that if anybody tells you can have work-life balance, they're full of shit. I don't know if they said that verbatim, but that's kind of what I took away from what they said. But what I like to use the phrase and talk about work-life tension. There's no such thing as balance. Balance is like the judicial scale. It's 50-50. None of you in here are going for work-life balance. You know why? Because I've never heard anyone say, I need more work-life balance because lately I've just been lifing too much. I never heard anybody say that. However, I believe that if we can define work-life tension and we use these two statements the same, that I believe you are wildly unique and extraordinary and there's no one in the world like you. And simultaneously, if you believe that you are 1 ounce more valuable than any human being to your left or to your right, you're going to lose. But many of us tend to choose one statement or the other because we believe that's what's going to make us valuable. We tend to say, I'm wildly unique and extraordinary, and there's no one in the world like me. Hey. And some of us in the room go, I'm 100% regular, and everybody else in the room is more valuable than me. But I believe there's something really beautiful that happens when we hold the tension of these two statements collectively together. I believe opportunity and freedom and clarity of who we are exists when I go, there's no one in the world like me, but let me tell you something, there's no one in the world like you either. You follow me? But many of us, familial, cultural, we've been preconditioned to believe that if we believe too highly of ourselves, we're an asshole. And so it's better to believe we are less than and give somebody else the chance, lest they deserve it more than we do. Today, we're going to walk away with a language that every person in the room is going to understand exactly who we are. Thumbs up, you're with me? Next slide. So here's how we're going to start. I want you to begin. I'm going to give you 4 minutes to answer these 4 questions, okay? Let me describe them to you. We're going to play a little music. I want you to write them down. I'm going to tell you this is one of 3 exercises that we're going to do, and I'm going to ask you to write them down. So if you don't write them down, it's going to be very awkward later when I say, what was the answer? And you're like, I don't know. I ignored you. That's going to be weird. So write them down. Question number 1 says this. What do you think about most? Where do you spend the majority of your brain power? As an individual and as a human being, what do you think about most? This is not a professional question. This is a personal question. This is a human question. As a human being, what do you think about the most? Question number 2 says, what 3 things do you fear losing most? Some people, the word losing throws them off. That's fine. What 3 things in life do you fear most? I don't care how you answer it. Just write something down. What I'm not looking for there is like snakes and spiders, okay? That's not the answer I'm going for. Number 3, if you could do 2 things the rest of your life and be totally satisfied, what would those 2 things be? No rules, no restrictions. You have all the money in the world, but you could just do 2 things. What are those 2 things? Lastly, number 4, what's one thing in life you hope to accomplish? I'm not asking for the one thing. I'm not asking for the end-all, be-all. Unless you know what that is, by all means, write it down. I'm just saying, what is one thing in life that you hope to accomplish? Be as specific as you can. To live a positive life, great answer. My next response is going to be, tell me about that. Try to be singular. Try to be specific as you can. You've got 4 minutes. Again, number 1, what do you think about most? Number 2, what 3 things in life do you fear losing most? Number 3, if you could do 2 things the rest of your life and be totally satisfied, what would those 2 things be? Traveling and drinking tequila are 2 appropriate answers. Number 4, what's one thing in life you hope to accomplish? Okay, that's not a bucket list question. Skydiving, right? Okay. Bad Bunny Live, that's not what we're going for. Okay, you can write that down, but that's a different kind of goal. All right? You've got 4 minutes. Write something down, answer those 4 questions, just 4 easy, light questions to get us going, okay? Ready, go. While you're writing, I may talk a little bit over the music, so just ignore me. Keep doing your thing. I just want to encourage you. Like anything, it only works if you work it. So if you're sitting in your chair going, I'm not answering these dumbass questions, you're probably going to have a dumbass moment. Not because I'm magical. I'm not giving you the answer to the question. I'm telling you, you've been given an opportunity to look and dissect 4 significant parts of your life. I promise. Answer the question. Ready, go. As you're going through and answering, if you get to a question and your legitimate answer is, I don't know is a wonderful answer. As a matter of fact, I don't know might be the most honest answer you could give yourself. Okay, so give yourself that freedom. If you get to a question and you're like, man, at this point in my life, I don't know, please write down, I don't know. It's potentially one of the most freeing things that you can do. Okay, now don't say I don't know for all 4, okay? But if there's one you don't know, feel free and write that down. And then when you've got something written down for all 4, as I scan the crowd, just make eye contact with me. 1, because that's how I know you're done. And number 2, I get to see you. And number 3, it just keeps it a little bit weird. Raise your hand if you're not done. 30 seconds. All right. If you're still writing, keep writing. You're not going to hurt my feelings if you're looking down at your notes. So here's what I want to do. Normally when we would do this, if we had 3 or 4 hours, you'd get in the small group and I'd say, okay, everybody share answer to question number 1 together, and you'd all share your answers, and you would come back and I would say, how did that feel? And we would talk about your feelings. Then we would go to number 2 and we would do that, and it would take us about 2.5 hours to get through 4 questions. I know it sounds crazy, but I promise that's what happens every time. But today, we can't do that. So what we're going to do instead is you're just going to talk to me because it's more fun, and whatever you say, somebody else in the crowd is going to be like, dang, I feel that way too, and you're just going to get to be the guinea pig, okay? So we're going to go through each of these questions because I want to help you understand what we're looking for, because I promise it breeds magic in our life. So question number 1, we said, what do we think about most? So somebody share your answer with me who's willing. What did you write down? Yes, go ahead. Stand up, say it loud for me. Tell us your name. Michelle, let's go. Hey, can we get 2 claps for Michelle? 1, 2, 3. Let's go. Talk to us, Michelle. Creating financial and spiritual liberation for yourself. Tell me about that. Mm-hmm. What does it mean for you to have a clean soul? What keeps you disconnected from your highest good?
Just being distracted. Thank you. Yes, that is a clap worthy, believe it or not.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Thank you. And so, yeah, just being distracted, that keeps me away from being.
Okay. Okay. So do you think so let's take all of that, let's squeeze that together. So you said what you think about most is the pursuit of freedom, spiritual and financial freedom.
Yes.
Okay, which then I heard you say, I said, tell me about that. And you said, well, what I think about most is keeping myself connected. I said, tell me about that. And you said, well, when I'm not connected, I'm distracted.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to do a theory called the upside down. Write that word down, upside down. If you're a fan of Stranger Things, shout out Stranger Things. Okay, I want you to write down upside down. Stay with me, Michelle, okay? Here's why. I've found almost every human being, we think upside down. That doesn't mean it's backwards or wrong. It just means it's upside down. I said, what do you think about most? She said, spiritual freedom. She gave me the positive. That's awesome. I love that. I want to be free spiritually and financially. Amazing. I said, tell me about that. She dug a little bit. She got a little shovel out. She threw a little dirt, right? And she said, well, what I mean is, like, I want to stay connected to the higher power. I said, oh, great. Tell me about that. And she was like, fine, I'll go get a bigger shovel. And she said, I want to make sure that I'm not distracted. I said, interesting. Distraction. What does that mean for you? And she was like, well, you asked. Let me get the bulldozer. And then she said, well, I recognize when I remove things like drugs, alcohol, TV, and things in my life that used to distract me from the ability to recognize what my life and potential could be is when I feel most free. I'm fucking Dr. Seuss up here. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. So if you take that now, we're going to go upside down, flip it, and what if she answered it the other way? She didn't do it wrong. That's the purpose of the exercise. What do you think about most? I think most about removing distractions in my life like drugs, alcohol, TV, and things that I am consuming so that I can stay aligned to the higher power, because when I am, I find that I have the ability to be spiritually and financially free. Michelle, I need you to understand, they're not clapping for me. I just said what you said. But do you see how our brain works? Our brain almost 100% of the time is going to lowest hanging fruit first because it's safe. Because if she'd have jumped out here and said what I said, the way that I said it, that way, upside down first, half of you would have walked out because you'd have been like, yo, I've messed up the whole question. You follow me? Thank you, Michelle. 2 claps for Michelle. Somebody who's next. Go ahead. Yes, sir. You raise your hand. Talk to me. Wait. Got to get that microphone. There it is. Now he's ready.
There you go.
Is this for question 1 or 2?
Question number 1. My guys, hit me with that again. He just came from Slow Jams 107.8. My gosh. Is this question 1 or 2? Go ahead, my bad. Tell me your name.
My name's Andy.
Of course it is. Let's go, Andy. I don't know what that means.
So what I think about the most is how can I contribute?
How can I contribute? Tell me about that.
Mostly when you're thinking about how you're going to leave your mark on this world.
So I'm going to, sorry, I'm trying to interrupt you too much. I want you to say it again, but I don't want you to talk to me like you're telling me what I think because I didn't answer the question. No. You did. So I want you to say, when I think about how I'm going to leave it. Okay, let's go.
So when I think about how I'm going to leave my mark on this world, it's mostly about what am I going to do for the people around me and the people that I interact with and the people that come in contact with me.
Great. What is the number one thing you are currently doing for yourself?
Right now, I am focusing on my health and I am cutting certain ties. Today was my last day at my 9 to 5.
Hey, it's been great. I'll see y'all next year. Okay. He said, in order to create impact in lives the way that I desire, I'm going to have to get rid of something. That's what he told you. And he said he came to the Moment Conference so that he could share a moment with you. Because as he is getting rid of and cutting things out of his life, he recognizes that not only is he investing in himself, but the investment in himself is what gives him the ability to invest in others. Mm-hmm. You follow me?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. 2 claps for my man right here. All right, let's go to question number 2. Somebody, question number 2. Yes, talk to me right here.
Where we at? Oh.
So I'm going to pick up the pace a little bit because I do realize we have 3 more of these exercises to do. That's my bad. Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Charles Smith, and for question number 2, I put my mind, my health, and my time.
Tell me about that.
So
He knew what was coming. You see how he almost started? He almost gave more, and he was like, what is he going to say to me?
So when it comes to my mind, my health, and my time, I feel like in order for me to be an asset and even benefit to myself, I got to be in the right mind, the right headspace. Because if I'm not in the right headspace, I'm no good to myself or my family or the people who are looking at me of influence. And then when it comes to my health, if I don't got my mind right and I'm all over the place, then I start to affect my health, where I'm no good because now I'm sick. Then it's causing me to lose my mind because I'm unable to maintain what I have or sustain what I have. And then my time, now that I'm all over the place, I feel like I'm further back than where I was. So instead of being 2 steps ahead, now I'm 2 steps back. Now my health is messed up, my time is wasted, and my mind is out of this world.
He said mind, health, and time.
Yes, sir.
Right? Okay, and then he described them to you, but you notice what he did at the end? I didn't even ask him to. He went back and he described them in the reverse order because he realized the way it makes sense. Like you upside down yourself. So let's flip it around. Because I think oftentimes, again, he's not wrong. I just want to show how our brain is. He goes, I got to keep my mind right. Because if I keep my mind right, keep my health right. If I keep my health right, then for sure I'll be able to prioritize my time. Bro, we know he is full of shit. So that ain't how it works. Because what happens is we assume that if we can get our mind right and our health right, we're magically going to choose the right things on our calendar. Nope. Well, how does the saying go? You got to make sure that I'm going to make sure that I'm going to prioritize my schedule. Not if you don't schedule your priorities. And so if he flips it around, he says, I'm going to take my time first. And if your time is allocated correctly, you will be healthy because you'll have time on the gym on the calendar. It'll already be preset. And then when you get done at the gym and go to the office or go hang out with your family, your mind is clear. You follow me? Now let's try one more thing. Just for fun, what did you write down in question number 1?
Question number 1, I said how to better myself and my family.
Interesting. What he thinks about most is how to better his self and his family. And the thing he's afraid of losing is his time, his health, and his mind because he thinks he won't be available for his family. Curious. Isn't it interesting how the things we fear most tend to be reactions to the things that we think about most? And the thing we think about most tends to be the thing that we are reacting to because we're so afraid we're going to lose something. Look at your notes. Tell me what you wrote down in number 1 is not directly correlated to what you wrote down in number 2. Yep. 2 claps for my man right here. Question number 3, because we got to speed through this. Somebody share number 3 with me? Go ahead. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Liz Reveles, and the 2 things that I would like to do for the rest of my life is give and not borrow, and to learn.
Tell me about that first one.
Well, I want to make sure that I have enough financial success so that I'm able to give to those people who also need to grow, and I don't want to borrow. I want to give. Wow.
Why?
It's important for you not to keep.
No, that's not important to me. I didn't say it.
Okay, for me.
Okay, it's important to you.
It's important to me because I don't want to be inward. When you're inward, you are all about yourself. You're selfish. But when you're outward, you're ready to think of others, to give, to see them be successful, and to share that success.
Are you a generous person?
I am.
Are you fearful that someone is going to steal your generosity?
No. Because I know how to say no as well.
She just gave you a math equation. Saying no and choosing what you want equals generosity. And a lot of us in the room don't have the capacity to be generous because we've said yes to things that were never ours to begin with. Right? We got preachers in the room. Y'all didn't even know it. You're just answering 4 questions. All right, 2 claps for her. Question number 4, let's go. Somebody wants to share it? Yes, go ahead. You've been waving that. She got a fan. She's got her notes. I don't know what it is, but wait for the microphone. Question number 4.
Hi, my name is Carolina, and discipline.
One thing that you hope to accomplish in life is discipline.
Yes.
Why?
Because you have to be on time to things.
I don't.
I have to be on time
interesting.
to things.
You see how often we do that? Every person wants to tell me about me. I don't need you to tell me about me. I'm the one up here.
Well, if I'm not, somebody else can take the opportunity.
Great. Now what I want you to do is I want you to flip it around because I don't want you to tell me what's not going to happen. I want you to tell me what is going to happen. Don't tell me if I'm not disciplined, someone's going to steal it from me. Don't tell me that. Tell me when I am disciplined, what happens?
When I am disciplined, I reach my goals.
Keep going. When I am disciplined, I
finish my paintings on time.
When I am disciplined, I
feel better.
When I am disciplined, I
get things done.
She's going to get things done. She's going to accomplish her goals. She's going to finish her paintings. She's going to feel good about who she is. Right? Discipline is not something you're going to accomplish at the end of your life. Discipline is going to be something you're going to choose every morning when you wake up. You can't accomplish discipline. Discipline is happening. Discipline is present. Discipline isn't future. It can't be future. I can't wait to be disciplined next week. Bro, that's called procrastination. Like, that doesn't make any sense. I remember when I was disciplined. No, you don't. No, you don't. Because if you were disciplined, it's active. I'm not telling you your answer's wrong. I'm saying don't sell yourself short. That discipline is something you have to work for the next 20 years to find. Trust that you could choose to wake up tomorrow and say that today is the day I'm going to be disciplined. You could sit down and from now moving forward make a decision. I'm going to be a person who says I do the things I say I'm going to do. Maybe you might even accomplish something that you hope to accomplish at the end of your life tomorrow. And then you're just going to choose to do it day after day after day after day. Make sense? 2 claps for our good friend right here. Here's the reason I ask you these questions. Next slide, please. Here's what I actually asked you. I say question number 1, 2, 3, and 4. What I really said is tell me your thoughts, fears, hopes, and dreams. But I didn't say tell me your thoughts, fears, hopes, and dreams because if I did, you'd give me some dumbass answer that wasn't the real one. So, because we're human, I would too. I'm not knocking you. I'm just telling you I'm a part of the club. So I just ask you the question I want because if you'll answer the question, in fact, what you described is your thoughts, fears, hopes, and dreams, right? Look at your notes really quick. Don't look at me. Whatever you wrote down in number 1 is directly correlated to what you fear losing in number 2. What you fear losing in number 2 currently is preventing you from doing number 3. And if you don't do more of number 3, you're never going to accomplish number 4. I'm going to say it again because it was a little fast. Whatever you wrote down in number 1 is directly correlated to what you fear losing in number 2. That's because 95% of the population lives reactively every single day. And we wake up and go, what is I need to do today to prevent the things I'm afraid of losing from not going away? So then if I ask you, what do you really want to do? You think you're just going to magically go do the 2 things in life you want to do if you wake up every day and 95% of us in the room are going, what do I got to do today to prevent things from not leaving me? Most likely number 4 is not going to happen. So my challenge to you is this. Next slide. What if you inverted it? Look down at your list again. What if what you thought about most was number 4? You think you would do more of number 3? And if you did more of number 3, you think you'd be less fearful of number 2? And if you were less fearful of number 2, we would dramatically change what you would write down in number 1. You follow me? You can clap for yourself. Come on, it's your answers. Because we have to force ourselves to live in the upside down. My favorite phrase, you've heard me say it, and I've said one phrase more than any other phrase since we've been here. Tell me about that. It's my favorite question in the world. It's not a question at all. It's just a statement. Tell me about that. It's open-ended. You can say whatever you want, right? When we allow ourselves to tell me about that, tell me about that, tell me about that, we tend to get to the root of what it is we were hoping to say. So I want to encourage you. Your moment may need to be that you're going to concentrate on number 4 and you're going to stop apologizing for the fact that you're afraid of number 2. Your moment may be that you're going to start pursuing number 3 and actually doing it. Now, some of you are going, yo, bro, I said in number 4 that I wanted to leave a wealth and a legacy for my family, but the thing I wrote down was playing golf and tequila. So help me understand how those 2 things go together. Well, golfing and tequila are not practical in this example. They're metaphorical. Because when you play golf, you go someplace for 4 hours uninterrupted of something you're not good at, but potentially if you're like me, it's the one place we allow ourselves to go to be bad at something, yet enjoy ourselves because our performance and our value are not intertwined together on a golf course because we've made the assumption we're going to suck at golf for the rest of our life, and there's no other place in your life that you allow yourself to be free, try and have fun, lose golf balls, and go, you know what? I bet no one is judging me. Or at least that's why I play golf. So, you follow me? So we have to be able to recognize the way that our brain is working. If we expect our body, our hearts, our minds to do anything different, we have to know what's going on up here. You heard every person up here has talked about mindset some way or somehow. We're all like, yeah, mindset. And I think every day about the things I'm so scared of. I don't know what to do. Because I'm 40 years old. I spent the first 38 and a half years of my life exponentially more afraid of success than I was of failure. Because I love my wife and my children. I wanted to be a dad my whole life. And I was so afraid that if I pursued business and allowed myself to say, Rocky, you can be a successful businessman, then my wife was going to hate me and my children were never going to see me. And so I got to the very edge of success for 38 and a half years, and every time I got to the edge, I said, no. Because what if I cross over and become the very person I've been afraid of becoming my entire life? Until I went into the upside down. And I said, what if I cross over and become the person I've wanted to become my entire life? And become a wise businessman who creates wealth for others so that I can be a loving, intentional husband and father. And I had to flip it for myself. I ask myself these questions every quarter. I ask myself these 4 questions once a quarter, every 90 days, because I want to track and see, am I thinking the same things, fearful of the same things, and doing the same things. We got 2 more exercises, but we only got about 20 minutes. Stay with me. Next slide. So in order for us to begin to put this together, here's what we're going to do. Next one. Here's what we're going to do. We've talked about it. I think I've counted 3 people who have done this. One more slide for me. There's been 3 people who have gone through, and they've all said, one more. I put too many slides in here. We've had 3 different people talk about Values. What is your belief system? What is your value system? What do you value? What do you do? What do you value? Well, that's a great question, and I'm glad they all reference it because now we're going to decide. You've got 3 minutes. I need you to look at this list of 50 words, and I need for you to select the 5 words on this page that you would say are the 5 things you value most. These are not things you hope to be. These are not things you hope to become. These are not the things that you're like, I really hope they see these in me, even though I know they're not true about me. I'm saying as a human being, as an individual, what are the 5 things that you would say you value most? Now, if there's not a word up here that you need because you're typing, you're like, hey, 50, are you kidding me? Go to Google, type in core values. The first link has 500. You do you. All I'm saying is I need you to pick the 5 words you would say you value most. The 5 things that represent who you are most. One caveat. It has to be a positive word. If you're going to choose a word that's not mine, it has to be positive. Procrastination is not a value. Okay? Secondly, for the sake of values, let me be clear. Money is also not a value. Wealth can be, but money in and of itself is not a value, so I don't want that to be on our list. What are the 5 things that you would say you value most? You've got 60 seconds. It's not true. I'll give you 2 minutes. You got 2 minutes. Here's what I want you to do. One more time. Look at me real fast. I want you to pick 5. I want you to put them in order today. We're writing in pencil, not in stone. Put them in order of most important to 5th most important, and I want you to write me a less than 1 sentence definition for every word. I don't want to know what Webster thinks. I want to know what you think. Okay? What is your definition of that word? You got 2 minutes. Ready, go. Again, I want you to pick 5, put them in order, and then briefly define them. You're not writing anything in stone. They're always editable and changeable, but for today, you got to give yourself a language. Raise your hand if you've not picked 5 yet. All right, great. So stay with me. Come back to me real fast. Just for time's sake, we're going to keep going because we have another exercise like this that we're going to do, and then we're going to put it all together. So, hey, don't worry. We're going to be together. We got till midnight tonight. Come and find me. We'll work through it together, okay? So here's what I want you to do. The reason I had you pick 5 words is because I wanted you to be able to have a language. We describe these. We say these are our core values. Go to the next slide for me, please. We describe this as our core values. I think core values serve 2 purposes, right? They serve as a foundation and a filter. The way that I like to describe personal core values is the same way we have company values, but if I don't care what your company values are if you don't know what your personal core values are, okay? Your personal core values to me represent why you do what you do. The reason, intention, and motivation behind everything you choose are related to one of the 5 words you just wrote down. Now, we all have 10 to 15 values we tend to operate off of. Bro, it took us 48 minutes to get through 4 questions. So if we did you pick 10 values, we'd be here for like a week. So we picked 5 to keep it short and simple. Right? But our core values represent why we do what we do. The reason, intention, and motivation behind everything you choose, okay? The reason we do that is because they serve as a foundation, a filter, a foundation to stand on. Who am I as an individual? What do I represent? What's my reason, intention, motivation? And a filter, so when it comes to goal setting, decision making, you have a filter to run things through. Why do you want to do that? Anytime anybody asks you a question with the word why in it, why do you want that? Why don't you want that? Why did you do that? Why didn't you do that? Why haven't you done that? Why won't you do that? Anything with the word why should always come back to, and you should be able to use one of these words as an immediate response for why you do or you don't want to do that. To arbitrarily say it is or it is not a good idea on Excel is crazy. I'm not saying the numbers don't matter. I'm saying it needs to align, though, to your purpose and the things that you value most. You follow me? So I'm going to show you what I mean. I'm going to give you a quick example, then we're going to go on to the next one. I think that 90+% of relational conflict in our life is driven by values, not by what the other person did or didn't do. Anybody in here in a relationship? Raise your hand. Okay? All right, those of you that don't, high, raise it high. Raise it high for me. Okay? Those of you that don't have your hand up, look around, okay? You're welcome. So just kidding. So the reason I say that is because I think that 90+% of relational conflict is values-based, right? Let me give you an example, okay? So I'm putting my glasses up because the light is giving me weird. I can't see anybody. I'm going to get done. I'm going to fly home tomorrow. I'm going to go back to Dallas. I'm going to walk in the house. I'm going to see my wife. I'm going to say, hey, babe. She's going to say, hey. She's going to say, can you take the trash out? And I'm going to be like, I would love to take the trash out. So I'm going to go back to my room first. I'm going to take off my joggers and my fresh J's. I'll put on some comfy clothes, and my son Ezra's going to come in. He's going to say, Dad, you want to play Legos? I'm going to say, I would love to play Legos. So I'm going to go to his room. We're going to be playing Legos. I'm going to hear my wife. She's going to say, hey, babe, can you take the trash out? I'm going to say, yeah. She's going to say, when? And I'm going to be like, can you just give me? Okay, y'all know I didn't say that, but I thought about it. Now I'm going to tell you two stories. I'm going to tell you mine first because she's not here to defend herself. I've been in El Paso, Texas, changing people's lives. You can't just give me 6 minutes to take the trash out? The trash has been there all day. You think the trash is just going to walk out the trash can by itself? Just wait. Like, just give me it. You see my face right now? Did you hear how high my voice went? Y'all know this is a bad idea for me. So let me rewind and tell you her story. My wife has also been at work all day running her own business. She's been at home by herself with a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old. If I would have walked in the house and acknowledged my wife and given her a hug before I scratched the dog, I would have grabbed the trash, taken it out. 27 seconds later, there's no trash in our house and there's no conflict. Except I came home and I looked at my wife and I said, who you are and what you value is not valuable to me. What I want is valuable to me. And when I'm done with me, then I might get to you. Except I stood on a stage 14 years ago and looked at my wife and said, I will love you and care for you and serve you above myself for the rest of my life. I came home from El Paso and I made a liar out of myself. We are not in conflict because of trash. We are in conflict because I look at my wife and I said, who you are and what you value is not valuable to me. And when I'm done with me, I might think about getting to you. Follow me? See that person on your team that really drives you crazy? They do a wonderful job, but you're not sure why they get under your skin? It's because you don't know what they value. Maybe you think you know what they value, but maybe you're trying to lead them and coach them based on your values, and you wonder why you're failing. See, in my experience on our team, we've got about 60 or so staff. One thing I can tell you that I've learned is that I can lead you with my values, but I can only coach you with yours. For those of you that have a team, I'm going to say it again for you. You can only lead people with your values, and you can only coach them with theirs. The greatest quarterback coaches in the world were not great quarterbacks. They were great at identifying the values and the skills of great quarterbacks. They led their team. They led quarterbacks based on what they believed as a coach. But they created incredible players because they knew what their players valued. And the same thing is true for you. In your relationships and your friendships and your partnerships and your marriages with your children, you think your kids don't have values? You only think that because you've never asked. I sat down with my 7-year-old and said, Ezra, what do you value? What do you mean? I said, look at these words. Which ones do you like? Interesting. Kindness is your number one value? Yes, Dad. Okay. And you better believe, boy, next day he's mean to his sister. Ezra, doesn't look like you're living into your values, bro. You told me it was kindness. You just kicked her in the face, you know? And it's the same. It's the same for us. Our values represent why we do what we do. I'm going to give you one quick example, and we're going to go to the next one. We got 20 minutes, bro. Let's slow it down. I need someone to be my volunteer.